All righty. What is going on, YouTube? What is going on, Raider Nation? It is your boy Ash Raider here. Come on, you guys, on the live stream where we finally got the news. We finally got the breaking news that today Antonio Pierce has now been officially named the full-time Las Vegas Raiders head coach. Not sure what how the contract details are going to work. We that hasn't been announced yet. Um, they're still closing in on a deal on Champ Kelly. He will most likely be the next general manager of the Las Vegas Raiders. Um, we were anticipating that that the GM would be hired first and then the head coach, but obviously Antonio Pierce for the past few weeks now has been the heavy favorite to become our next head coach. That it didn't really even matter as much. Of course, the Raiders had to go through the diligence with the GM process, search. But I guess we just knew all the time, especially considering the fact that we didn't really even interviewed that many head coaches. And I'll get to that in just a second. Um, that it was always going to be Antonio Pierce's job. And first things first, let me go ahead and say, congrats to him. Shout out to Antonio Pierce and his family. You know what I mean? I said in a live stream a few weeks ago, I think he's earned enough to get this job, and I said I was going to be totally okay with him being our next head coach. And I said from ever since the Chiefs game and right after the season had ended, that what, man, he's my first choice, but I would be open to other candidates as well. But if it's gonna be AP, then it's gonna be AP, and I get it based on the momentum and the support that he was getting from the players, from the fans, from the media, national media and whatnot. Man, like I get it, you know what I mean. And obviously, there was going to be like some pressure coming on Mark's end that hey man, you're gonna have to make this tough decision again, to where it's like you're in the same situation where you have this interim coach and all the players want him, and you made that mistake last time with Rich Bisaccia, which in my opinion, I don't even think I loved Rich Bisaccia. I did. I loved Rich Bisaccia, but I don't think it was really a mistake. I think hiring Josh McDaniels was the mistake, but I don't think not retaining Rich Bisaccia was a mistake. Well, all in all, he decided to go with his heart. Um, Hold on one second. Peter's calling me. But yeah, man. At the end of the day, man. Hold on one second. Hold on one second, guys. Well, all in all, at the end of the day, man, I just got home, taking a little lunch break from work, and just heard the news, and yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see how Antonio Pierce builds his team, what his vision is going to be, what his next quarterback is going to be. Bo Hardiker is not going to be our offensive coordinator. We are going to be getting a new offensive coordinator. So, what our next offensive coordinator is going to be? We heard the rumors that if Antonio Pierce was going to be the full-time head coach, then we may want to bring in Cliff Kingsbury, and you know what I mean. Right now he's interviewing with the Bears. I'm curious to see what kind of other candidates we're going to be interviewing. Like, I hope we hire an experienced offensive coordinator, a guy that has been a veteran, that's also well respected. And we'll see, man. I really am intrigued. I really am interested to see who we bring in as offensive coordinator. I'm not worried about the defense because obviously, unless Patrick Graham gets a head coach job, now that Antonio Pierce is going to be our next head coach, um, you know, we're going to probably keep Patrick Graham. Quarterback situation, you already know we still need a quarterback. I'd like Aiden McConnell, but as a backup, I know he did play well those last 4 games, and I think he solidified himself as the QB2. But if we're going to win in this league, we're going to have to do it with a legit quarterback that can move, that can run, you know what I mean, that can improvise in the pocket, that can make plays with his legs, that can, not be shut down, in some games, like Aiden was shut down in that Vikings game and then that second Chiefs game. So, yeah, man. Um, but you know what, man? I'm happy for the players because obviously they really wanted this. I wanted AP, but I wasn't like, you know, campaigning for the dude. I was like, you know what? Like, I'd like him to be our next head coach, but I also know that there's other options out there. So all in all, I'm happy for the players. I'm happy for the majority of fans that wanted this dude. I'm happy for the Antonio Pierce and then probably Champ Kelly that was going to be our next GM. I'm happy. You know, and you know what, man? I'm a guy who y'all know me. Big guy on continuity, big guy on stability, and I can't blame the Raiders for doing this. We're gonna, have continuity and stability. The Chargers, no matter what, are gonna have a new head coach. From what I've been hearing, the Broncos might go through a rebuild. So it's very likely possible that we could be finishing in second place in the AFC West again. And depending on how Kansas City, like I said, it depends on what we do in the offseason, but maybe we could compete for the AFC West. Who knows? But I do love our chances right now, finishing once again second in the AFC West, considering the fact that we have over 50 million in cap space. We might get more. We have a top 10 defense, top 6 in defenses efficiency, and we're probably going to add more talent to that side of the football. We got the playmakers. Again, bro, this is a team with under Antonio Pierce's leadership. You know, since Antonio Pierce took over, number one defense in football in terms of points allowed, third in sacks, most defensive touchdowns, most turnovers, I believe. We outscored opponents like what was it it was like 200 to 140 something. I just saw a stat on ESPN, and so there are a lot of reasons to buy into Antonio Pierce, and not even just that too. We did this with an interim rookie offensive coordinator that's never called plays in his life, and a 4th-round rookie quarterback that we all thought was going to be not even start this year. The only times he was ever going to start was if Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt. Like we never thought he was going to be like our full-time starter, but he was. So now just imagine, depending on if we draft a quarterback, now the possibility of getting Justin Fields is now open since we're going to get Champ Kelly and he has relations to the Chicago Bears front office. We'll see how that happens. Maybe Kirk Cousins could be a possibility. I don't know. And then obviously bringing them a legit offensive coordinator. That's going to be big. That we're going to have to, definitely do our due diligence to find ourselves like a good offensive coordinator, and we'll see what happens, man. I think we're gonna make a lot of changes to our offensive staff. Unfortunately, we're not gonna have our offensive line coach Carmen Basilio, who I think was my second favorite, positional coach on the team. Like obviously Patrick Graham like takes the cake, but when it came to Carmen Basilio, or I should say number one, because like he's a positional coach and Patrick Graham is a coordinator. But at the same time, too, what would you rather lose? Carmen Basilio or Patrick Graham? You know what I mean? So we had to choose one or the other because I believe the NFL rules say that you can only block one head coach's like coaching request to coach for another team unless they get an upgraded position. Like, does that make sense? Because obviously there's nothing that the Raiders could do if, let's say, Patrick Graham gets a head coaching job, but Patrick Graham could have interviewed with other teams for other defense coordinator positions, and the Raiders blocked that shit. The Raiders said, "Fuck no." You know what I mean? Like, unless you become a next head coach, we want to keep you as our defensive coordinator for another year. And I think you can only do that one time with the coach. So, Carmen Basilio, if he had another coaching offer somewhere else for offensive line, there was unfortunately nothing the Raiders could do. Right? I think that's what I've heard per the NFL rules. So. But yeah, very interesting to see what happens this offseason, man. I'm looking forward to this offseason, man. First things first, we got to establish the staff. We got to go ahead and build a staff. And I'm really excited about what we're building here. We were 3-1 our last 4 games. We finished out the season at 8-9. We could have finished with a winning record, but to say we would have finished with 8 wins, especially after we fired McDaniels, and at the time, Antonio Pierce was like I didn't know that Antonio Pierce had a shot. I really did not think that Antonio Pierce had a shot to become our next head coach. I thought it was going to be like another Just Saturday situation. I thought Champ Kelly had a chance. Because we did interview him a couple years back for the GM job, but obviously, we gave that to Dave Ziegler. But since him and Dave Ziegler had a connection, we decided to make him our assistant GM, which I think was very smart on Mark Davis's part. But now he looks like he's going to be our next full-time GM. And props to him. He is well respected in this league. I would have I would have liked Ed Dodds. I would have liked Ed Dodds, but I do like Chip Kelly a lot. I do. Again, he is well respected, and we'll see what happens, man. You know what I mean? But I think all in all, the main reason why we're bringing in Antonio Pierce as our head coach is not even just the stuff that I just mentioned. I mean, that's important and all, like, like the momentum and like all the statistical like things, like, like as far as our defense getting better, our offense playing better, that's cool and all. Outscoring, that's cool and all. Finishing with a winning record, also scoring the most points in franchise history, 63 points. So that's cool and all. I'm not denying that. I think what excites me the most about Antonio Pierce being the next head coach of the Raiders, full-time head coach of the Raiders, is not even just the fact that, like, he's brought this locker room together and that, the players want to play hard for him, this, that, that. I mean, that's important too. Yeah, but it's that he's bringing back the Raider way. And what do I mean by that, the Raider way, man? Like, just not giving a fuck, doing things that, that is rebellion to, like, all the other 31 other teams, man, smoking cigars in the locker room. And hey, man, we better do that shit when we're winning, not losing, man. Like, I better not see, like, if we're like fucking, let's just say next year we're like, in the same spot, I better not see that team doing that shit, bro. No, 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 no. Only do it when we're winning, bro. Like, I don't want to see that shit when we're like, if we're like, 8, 9, or 7, 10. Fuck that shit, bro. That would piss me off. But, but when we're winning, when we're pushing to be a playoff team and, trying to, compete in the AFC. Hey, man, smoke your shit, talk your shit. And that's what Antonio Pierce would say. Smoke your shit, talk your shit. Like, it's the Raiders' goddamn way. So, and I think that's what really, bought into the fan base is that, we want to bring that shit back. We want to bring the Raider way back, man. So, you know what I mean? Once again, congrats and salute to Antonio Pierce. He's earned himself the job. And, again, I'm a little bit disappointed that Mark Davis didn't really interview any legitimate head coaches, but I think all this time, he wanted Pierce. I mean, you heard it a few weeks ago that he said he'd like for Pierce and Chip Kelly to get jobs. Even when we lost 3-0, he said, I like for these guys to get the jobs. And now they're going to get their shot. And I hope it works out. Even if I wasn't a big fan of Antonio Pierce, I still would have wanted to work. I still would have wanted to work out because, again, I'm a Raiders fan first. Like, it doesn't matter who they bring in. I'm a Raiders fan first, and I just want, no matter who is the next head coach, GM, core, whatever, offensive coordinator, I just want them to succeed because at the end of the day, the Raiders, So, like I said, man, I'm looking forward to seeing what a full season of having Antonio Pierce and Chip Kelly is going to look like. This team is going to look a lot different than what it did last year, in my opinion. At least on the offensive side, I think a lot of the defensive pieces are still going to be there. Now we got to, again, build a staff, and in my opinion, try to re-sign some players. And before I go, let me just say this though: Chip Kelly, do not be a puppet. Do not be a puppet. Be the legit GM. You know what I mean? Do not be, because I heard, like, Chip Kelly's only going to be a puppet AP. No, fuck that. Chip Kelly, you got to do you have to be the one that has Foster. You have to go by your gut. You know what I mean? Josh Jacobs is saying, if Antonio Pierce is our next head coach, I'd like to resign. Look, I wouldn't mind bringing back Josh Jacobs on like a veteran discount. You know what I mean? But if we're going to overpay for Josh Jacobs, nah. No. Chip Kelly, you let Josh Jacobs walk. And I love Josh Jacobs, right? I do. But at the end of the day, man, if he wants top money, no, just let him walk. You know what I mean? We got Zamir White, who I like a lot. We could always draft another running back to pair up with Zamir White. You know what I mean? Like, if Josh Jacobs wants a veteran discount, I'm all for it. But if he wants a lot of money, no. Last year, I'm sorry, 3.5 yards per carry, less than 1,000 yards, even though he did miss some time. But I'm just saying, like, just because he loves AP and he wants to play for AP, that's cool and all. Like, I'd like for him to come back. But if he wants a lot of money. No, you can't do that, Chip Kelly. You got to realize that in today's NFL, it sucks. It sucks for the running backs. Like I'm not denying it, but the running back market is dead. So, I mean, we'll see how Champ Kelly does with some of the moves that he's making. I do have a lot of faith and confidence in Champ Kelly. Again, he was a finalist for the job, last time. I remember thinking to myself, well, if we don't get Ed Dodds or this Dave Ziegler dude, I would definitely be interested in having this dude. And now he gets a shot. So we'll see what happens. And Antonio Pierce, he gets his shot. And this is what the fan base and the players and the coaches want. And like I'm gonna give this about a couple years. So I'm gonna give it a couple years or so to prove themselves. Like I know what Brandon said, like, oh, you're gonna turn against them within halfway through the season. No. Like I'm gonna just say this. If we do not have the season that I think we should have next year, I'm just gonna go after Max Crosby and Devontae Adams and just say, well, this is what you wanted, right? This is what you wanted, right? I won't call for Antonio Pearson, Champ Kelly said, but I'll just say that. I'll leave it at that. I promise you that if we're not winning, I at the end of the day, I don't care if Antonio Pierce drives a low rider. I don't care if Antonio Pierce said the players like to smoke cigars. I don't care if Antonio Pierce grew up, he copped it was a Raiders fan and listed at WOA. Now all that matters to me now, guys. Listen, props to them for getting the jobs. I'm glad that they're going to get a shot now. But now, this is where the real work starts. Now you got to win. Now you got to win. You got all the support that you needed. You got the jobs. Congrats. Props. Now it's time to win. So hopefully they do. I have good faith about this. I feel good about this. I have a lot of belief that we can turn this around. And say all you want about Antonio Pierce, lack of coaching experience, and I get it. But look around the league. Dan Campbell, besides being the interim coach for a little bit, he didn't really have that much. In Miami, he didn't really have that much coaching experience. DeMeco Ryans, hold on one second. DeMeco Ryans, who was an offensive coordinator for defensive coordinator for a couple of years in San Francisco. And again, a lot of people could be the defensive coordinator in San Francisco and succeed. Like, DeMeco Ryans was kind of an unknown still. Like no one really expected DeMeco Ryans to break out in Houston, especially in year one. Again, he didn't have that much experience. Mike Vrabel, a guy that I would not mind hiring, he didn't have that much experience as being a head coach. So, like I said, Ben, it's starting to become an epidemic in this NFL of player coaches, leading guys being leaders of men. Obviously, the X's and O's are important, and I'm not saying that they're not. And, obviously, Antonio Pierce is going to leave that to the offensive coordinator. And obviously, he's going to lead the defense to Patrick Graham, but he's going to lead this team. He's going to, Tom Coughlin was there the final few weeks to help him game plan and help him, make that transition from linebackers coach to head coach. And obviously Tom Coughlin, he was there with the Giants that they won a Super Bowl together. He's a two-time Super Bowl champion, one of the, better coaches that we've had in this league. So, and he's had some other coaches and helps and support like a Marvin Lewis, who we worked with at Arizona State, Herm Edwards as well at Arizona State. So looking forward to seeing what the vision is and how this team is going to do moving forward. But I am excited for Antonio Pierce and Champ Kelly, and I'm excited for the Raiders. Like, we have a bright future, you guys, man. Now we got to go out there and, have a great offseason, and we'll see how this team does moving forward, man. But, yeah, man, it's about 20 minutes in. I'm going to go ahead and end it here, man. Once again, you guys, man, this has been your boy, Ash Trader, and I am out. Peace, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. And as always, go Raiders. I'll see y'all later.